Linea Rock and virtually to Milan.
Ciao and grazie.
Ciao. So guitarist and also singer, I must say, of two, the most important glam punk rock and roll bands from Sweden, which are Backyard Babies and Hellacopters, which you also founded. You also work with Tyla of the Dogs the Moor, Michael Monroe, Hanoi Rocks. You dig very much Gibson 335s, and which are your favorite weapons, and you like also to play with their look, making them unique. You had a solo album in 2013, so a lot of stuff always going on, a lot of projects. So it's really a pleasure to have you here with us tonight, talking about all the projects that are in the can at the moment. So Dregen, in Sweden, you experienced the lockdown period with few restrictions compared, to the Italian style. Which side are you on about this matter? Are you, do you agree with the government, to let a little bit more of freedom, and what you have done in this period at home?
Well, I'm a guy that likes freedom, so it's kind of. But it's to be serious, it's maybe too early. But I think that Sweden's strategy are pretty good, actually. I don't think that it's good to force people to lock down. I mean, it takes a lot of responsibilities for us as citizens as well. So it's kind of like. I think that, in general, Swedish people are taking their responsibilities and, keeping distance, and so on. But, it's maybe too early to say, with this virus and stuff. But, I would have fucking panicking to be locked in, I would just, I can't imagine for you guys. But, it's still not so. I mean, you can't go and watch, of course, shows or like sports events. I mean, it's the same lockdown as in Italy, in Sweden, But you can go out. You can go out and have a beer. You can go to a restaurant, But it's you got to keep like 2 meters, and the restaurants are following restrictions, So normally, if you have a restaurant that would take like 100 guests. They will only take in maybe like maximum 15 or 20 guests, But I think it's good, But it takes a lot of responsibility for the citizens, So yeah.
Okay, let me just translate this. So about the lockdown again. So what have you done? Okay, you had more freedom, so you could go out, go to restaurants and pubs, but no events, as you mentioned. But what have you done since you were not busy with your bands, I guess, in these last, 3 months?
Well, actually, we as a musician, when this lockdown, it's instead of panicking, I'm trying to keep busy, and do other stuff that, I couldn't find time when we are on tour or whatever. So the main thing is actually that we started to work on a new and record a new Hellacopters album. So we've been quite a lot in the studio. And then also I'm making my first own beer as well. It's a beer called Riff. And it's going to be out in about like 4 weeks. And this is something that I've been asked to do from different like breweries for maybe like the last 3-4 years. But, I've never found the time really. So I'm very involved in it, everything from, the taste of the beer. It's a lager beer. Pretty like classic. I think you Italians will love this beer. It's actually good. It's got a bit of a German style of it, South German style, almost like an Oktoberfest beer. It's 5.6 alcohol, and I've been designing everything from the bottle to the label to the whole process. So. Yeah, new Hellacopters album in the making, Dregen beer coming out in about 4 weeks. And that's about it.
And we also thank Jasper Lindgren a lot since it was our connection and he collaborated on the beer with you as well.
Yes.
About the beer, Riff, which is a great name for it, actually. I was wondering, since a lot of artists, a lot of bands, are producing their own beers, what is that brings, you guys to have your own beer? Okay, rock and beer is something that goes together since, forever. But which was the spark for you and why we should pick, the Riff beer and not maybe, I don't know, the Iron Maiden beer?
Well, you got me there because Iron Maiden is one of the few beers I actually think that is great. Because there is a lot of those, rock beers that I don't really know if this is true, but it feels that sometimes some of the artists are just putting their names on it and they don't really know even how it tastes. Okay. So you should try Riff Beer because I've been with it from day one, how much, malt or, the taste and the whole process and everything from the, design or logo or etiquette, everything, the whole process. And, as I said before, I've been asked a lot of times from different breweries and also bigger breweries, but it didn't really click, and then through Jesper, I found this, it's north up in Sweden. It's a really small beer brewery called Jämtehed and Brande. Okay. So it's kind of like an independent label, and they are music lovers and they are beer lovers, and they actually do this because they love the handcraft and they love beer, and it just feels that they are putting in a bit more of the love into it. And maybe if I should do a Dregen beer at, I don't know, Birra Moretti or whatever, like an Italian big company, I'm not saying that is bad, but okay. It feels like kind of like DIY, kind of like punk feel. It feels like making an album on a small label. It's a lot of freedom for me, and I know that these guys are loving beer.
Will it be available in Italy as well?
I hope so. Working on it. We were not having so much restrictions during the doing now the COVID-19. But the alcohol laws in Sweden are way more strict than in Italy, I think. Uh-huh. So, but we are trying to find some kind of because right now it's only legal to sell it in Sweden. Mm-hmm. But there is also ways to work around that is legal, but we need to find like an international export company. So if there's any Italian beer or wine exporters out there that want to get, the Italians to taste a great Riff, they should keep in contact. But, we're working on it, so hopefully, yes.
So Riff is the name of your son also, right?
Yeah, it's my son's middle name, actually.
Okay. So that's why you picked that name also, and also because you are a guitarist, right?
Yeah, well, both that, and also, who doesn't love a great guitar riff, and I'm going to try to make people to enjoy a bottled guitar riff now to be great.
So Dregen, Sliver and Gold from 2019 is Last Backyard Babies album. I was wondering if you're already working on some new Backyard stuff, and also since you work for, Hellacopters, Backyard Babies, a lot of stuff, and you're always composing songs. Do you usually compose freely and then decide, which band the song goes to? Or actually you set yourself, now I have to compose for Backyard Babies, now for Hellacopters in a different ways, like, it's like having, two sides of the same coin, or you have like double, triple, quadruple artistic personality?
Well, I guess in general, I do what I do, so it kind of like fits the whole, it's rock and roll music, so it could fit everything, but I'm more of going into different projects. So right now it's the Hellacopters album, and I'm also going to start working on a solo album actually. So for now, you know, we had a few canceled shows with Backyard Babies due to this fucking Corona thing that we were looking forward to. So maybe we're going to reschedule, but then of course we're going to start working with Backyard Babies new album, but it's nothing planned really, but of course it's going to be a new one, but I can't really say. So my main focus now is the new Hellacopters album, but it's also a bit easier because I'm a bit more involved in the actual songwriting with Backyard Babies, and in the Hellacopters it's more the basic, the first ideas is always coming more from Nicky Anderson, and then we kind of like put the songs together, the whole band, you know. But you know, everybody writes a bit, but he's the main songwriter there, and in Backyard Babies I'm more involved in the music. So yeah, so it's pretty, it sounds schizophrenic, but it's pretty easy actually, you know.
After this COVID thing, how do you see the future of music from your point of view?
Well, I'm trying to be, you know, to look positive to the whole thing, and you know, I think there's gonna be, it might be, you know, after this, maybe you don't think that right now, but it's gonna be a good thing, because both us musicians that sometimes can be a bit tired of touring all the time and playing, and maybe, you know, a lot of the audience is going to see, you know, they're going to see shows every weekend all the time. Now everybody's been away from the scene. So I you know, both the musicians are going to be like so excited to meet the audience, and hopefully the audience are going to be so excited to actually go out and see live music again. So, you know, I'm trying to keep positive about it. And also I think, for example, you know, there's going to be a Hellacopters album out sooner than it would be if this coronavirus wouldn't have been, because then we would have, you know, played a lot of festivals, and we would have actually been on tour last month. So I think that you know, it's going to be a new Hellacopters music, and it's going to be you know, both Backyard Babies and the Hellacopters are going to be so excited when we finally are being let out, and hopefully the audience are going to be that too, you know. So it's a win-win.
So, Dregen, you also have your own merchandise line, and you also take care of, you know, Backyard Babies, Hellacopters merchandise, if I'm correct. You always had, you know, a certain attention to the look, as all real rock and rollers. But I just discovered, I just found out that you also design armchairs, thrones, and furniture. Where does that input come from, which is very particular and strange?
Oh, well, I don't know. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I paint a bit, you know, and you know, paintings, and they are so, you know, they are just they are so like 2D, like they're just a thing that you put on the wall. And I think that, you know, furnitures are like art as well. They're beautiful. And they are also a bit more functional, you know, than a painting. You can actually use them. So I made a furniture. I only made actually one piece of furniture.
Okay,
that's
the armchair that I saw on your.
Yeah,
face.
It's called the punk throne.
Okay.
And yeah, it's an amazing armchair actually, and it's hand built in Sweden, you know, by a factory called Vilax, which are making like great furniture, everything like handmade. Yeah, and it's just a hobby that I have. I think it's, you know, I try to be creative and still keep on creative.
You didn't actually only design it; you also made it yourself.
No. Just designed it, but you know, I've been to the, you know, factory when they made the prototype and everything, you know. But it's not that I'm actually sitting like stitching, or you know, I leave that to the pros. I'm just like drawing the actual blueprint or whatever, like how it should look and what kind of material. And how big it should be and how the height and everything, like.
So Dregen, Roberto from Pavia is asking if Midlife Crisis project is still an option since Mance and Robert formed another band, Midwife, which is Strengths Brew. And also I was wondering, since you are, artistically insatiable, it's never enough for you. You're always on the run. If, after so many years, you leave this as a penalty or as a blessing, because you always seem, to be chasing something you can't find, always on the run, always a lot of stuff to do. How do you live that? Is spontaneous or it's your nature?
It's my spontaneous nature. No, I don't know, but it's kind of like I think that is a part of. Maybe it's kind of like sometimes I need to maybe slow down, but it's nothing that it's not. Maybe if you want to look at it in some kind of like bad way, it's maybe a chase. But I think that I'm more or less like afraid of. I'm kind of like maybe afraid of being totally satisfied, because if I get totally satisfied, I'm done. Then I can't do anything better. But it's not that I'm trying to just grow, and make I don't know. Some people get kicks from I don't know sports or whatever. I just it's kind of like I get kicks out of being I feel good about doing creative stuff, and yeah, I think it's actually it's not a penalty, it's a blessing.
Ok, allora definitivamente per lui questa è una benedizione, poter essere così creativo e potersi esprimere spontaneamente la sua natura, che è sempre viva, è sempre creativa, quindi non lo vive come essere sempre a caccia di qualche cosa che non trova, ma come una crescita costante che lui ha, tassello dopo tassello, insomma va avanti per il suo percorso ed è una crescita più che una caccia, ecco, lui la vive così. Quindi, for about midlife crisis, which Roberto asked about, is
yeah, I mean that's more of it. It's a band. It's another project, but it's a project that's only been playing one show live, and I think that this band is never going to be on tour or anything. So it's also a 7-inch vinyl project. We only make, I think we made like I don't know 4, 5, 7 inches, and yeah, that might happen again. But I'm getting older as well. So I'm trying to actually cut down on too many projects. So now I'm just trying to focus on the Hellacopters album and releasing my beer, and let's see what the future brings.
Thanks, Dregen, for this interview, for your time. We cannot wait to taste, Riff Beer, and hopefully we can get it online as soon as it will be available. And yes. Okay, ci lasciamo con
and hopefully we can come down to Italy and play some live shows again.
Of course, as soon as it will be possible again.
Grazie Barbara, thank you Dregen.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
See you later.
Bye.
And, I miss Italian food. Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.